And welcome to the Sartorial Geek podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything in between. I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance, coming back one more time. And of course, you know how we do this. Let's jump right into the download. Now, this week we saw the conclusion, the ending, the shutting down of Overwatch to make way for Overwatch 2, which is now shifted to a 5 to 4-on-4, I believe, hero shooter, but more importantly, it is now a free-to-play game, and it is available for all systems: PC, Xbox Series S, X, and Xbox One, PS4, 5, and of course the Nintendo Switch. This is a genre that I haven't gotten into a lot or at all for the most part. I am very much inclined to stick with that sort of solo experience. I don't play too many multiplayer games or games that are very much focused on the multiplayer aspect, at least at this point in my gaming life. However, Overwatch 2 being free to play is definitely one that I'm looking forward to at least trying out. Speaking with Brian Saff, my partner over the NRW Checkpoint, he is a very big Overwatch fan, so he was eagerly excited for the release of Overwatch 2 this week. So it's definitely something that I am going to check out at least in the next couple days to see, what it's like. But that's why I say, it is the download of the week. It's recommendable simply because it is free to play. So you can try it out even if it's not your designated or favorite genre of games. And from there, figure out if you like it or not. And remember, free to play means you don't have to give them money if you don't want to. Now, one of the things that really, for me, defined a lot of my television viewing, particularly from 01 to 05, in this case for me, grad school, was Adult Swim. With the hours of being a grad student, doing research, teaching classes, I burned a lot of midnight oil during that time, and Adult Swim was my best friend in many respects, and one of my favorite shows there that very much was a part of that culture that we had amongst my colleagues as well as just my generation at that time was Aqua Hunger Force. And I know it's been away for a couple of years, and they did a movie like 07, 08 or something to that effect. I'm not sure quite when that was, but I know it was during the time after I was out of school, so it was around that time. Anyway, I recently stumbled upon a trailer for a new Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie, Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm. And it's weird because at the time of me viewing that trailer, it had already been out 4 weeks. I'm like, where have I been? I instantly saw or got this feeling of nostalgia for my early 20s. And it's one of those shows that was just so irreverent and had so inside jokes with a lot of people in my life at the time that I've always found great pleasure in going back and watching it. And knowing that this movie is dropping direct to DVD is November 8th, I believe, is when it comes out. I'm surprised it's not dropping on HBO Max, but of course, for all of the turmoil and cutting at HBO Max lately, I guess I'm not really surprised, but I am very much looking forward to Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm. I keep wanting to say Aqua Teen Hunger Force Forever, but that's the official title of the movie, and all the voice casts are back, and it looks, well, if you're familiar with Aqua Teen, you know it's quite crazy and zany, and the trailer certainly lives up to that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that when it drops on November the 8th. My other short take this week is another trailer that just happened to pop up on me within a few hours of actually recording this. And if you haven't listened to my podcast before, you know that I am a humongous fan of Doctor Who. While I have not been the biggest fan of this current iteration of Doctor Who, and it's not because of Jodie Whittaker, I think she's a great actor. It's just that she did not get a lot of great stories to work with, in my opinion. And with the last story arc, shortened season Flux, I feel as though regardless of the holes in that story, that was really the best outing that she has had from a story perspective. And it's really sad that it took them, third time's the charm, somewhat get her doctor right, and now she's gone. And with that, there have been a couple of three specials since the ending of the Flux series, and the last special has been slotted, dated, and the trailers released, and it is The Power of the Doctor. We see the return of Jodie's incarnation of the Master, and I forget the actor's name. I'm looking forward to seeing him because I really enjoyed him, especially in that first arc when he was first introduced. I forget what the storyline was called, but I thought that was really well done. It's just the season went kind of downhill from there in a lot of respects for me, but I loved his Master. I loved his take on the Master, and it was very refreshing to see him back for this last outing of Jodie Whittaker. So that's premiering in October 2022. I think it's the 23rd if I remember correctly. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So those are my short takes. I'm definitely gonna be watching Aqua Teen Forever, Plantasm, and Doctor Who, The Power of the Doctor, when it drops. All right, let's talk about She-Hulk episode 8. Now, I have been on the fence with She-Hulk. It's a series that for the past few episodes have been okay to me. Nothing overly funny, nothing engaging as far as the story is concerned. I am a humongous Tatiana Maslany fan, so that's really why I kept watching. But this episode 8, it was the best episode since the premiere. Writing, storytelling, everything checked off all the boxes. The luring was good, but of course, that's always a plus or a definite when you have Charlie Cox in the picture, returning as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. And it was just really a great reintroduction to the character. I'm not feeling the yellow and gold suit though. Personally speaking, there's something off about it in my opinion, but it worked for the episode. Tatiana and Charlie have great chemistry together, and Daredevil doing the walk of shame was classic. I loved it. Let's talk about Werewolf by Night. Now, I am an immense fan of old school horror movies, especially films like this. Universal Monsters is just my absolute favorite. Wolfman, not exactly my favorite of those, but I love the Wolfman movies. I loved Lon Chaney Jr.'s performance as the Wolfman back in the day. Even going so far as the most recent Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro, whatever his name is. Anyway, that's not the point here. Werewolf by Night by Marvel is such a throwback to these sort of films, and man, it was so beautiful. Most of us in black and white. Why? Because they could show blood. There's so much gore and dismemberment that they could only get away with it by having it in black and white. And just the style and the cinematography and how things are done when he is transforming into the werewolf for the first time, and you never see him change, but you see his shadows and how it changes, and you see the dread on Elsa's face as he changed. This was amazing. And then icing on the cake, we got to see Ted in real life, and he was great. It wasn't like that crappy artisan movie that came out in 2001. It was real life man thing. Werewolf by Night is a must-see. As someone who has just gotten into Lower Decks for season 3, so I haven't gone back to rewatch any of seasons 1 through 2, this episode took me aback, and we're talking about season 3, episode number 7. After coming off of last week's absolutely amazing episode taking place on Deep Space Nine, we now get to this episode dealing with Peanut Hamper, who is an exocomp. And again, if you're in the TNG, you know exactly what I'm talking about, exactly what exocomp is. So I like that, and sentient exocomp that's speaking, I love that. But again, not knowing any of the backstory, which was given in the early parts of the episode. I've never been disturbed by a cartoon before today. We got Exocomp Birdman Levin. Whose bright idea was this? Who? All in all, it was an okay episode. A little downtrodden after the wonderful high that was the previous episode, but it was an okay, enjoyable episode, and I like the twist at the end, personally speaking. But yeah, that's my take on episode number 7 from season 3 of Lower Decks. Now on to the Sartorial slice. We're talking about fall essentials, and of course you can't go wrong with boots. Now most, if not all, are really going to talk about the Chelsea boots. They're a good pair of boots that are really quintessential for the fall. These are close-fitting, ankle-high boots that are usually found with elastic and elastic side panel on the side, obviously. This combined with a traditional loop in the back give them easy slide-on, slide-off functionality. And much like the Henley, Chelsea boots are good for work, play, and a night out when combined correctly. I personally don't wear Chelsea's. I actually have a pair of double monk strap boots that actually fill the bill for me in this regard. And the fragrance of the day, which is also my fragrance of the week, is one that you've heard me talk about before. And today I was inspired to pull it out because of the wonderful content over at the Olfactory Factory with Chris. Chris talks about two things that I love the most: coffee and fragrances. So I decided to pull out one of my favorites from the Cremo company, get the bottle right, and that is Spice and Black Vanilla. And I absolutely love this fragrance. I wear this all year round, but it is perfect for the fall and the winter. You're gonna find notes of spices, dark woods, tobacco, and of course vanilla, and it is such a wonderful fragrance, even more so because of its price point. You can find it very easily for under $20. You shouldn't be paying any more than $23 after tax, depending on where you purchase it from, and this is US. I'm not sure how it varies overseas, but you still should be paying a pretty small penny for this fragrance, and it's one that definitely gives you a whole lot of bang for your buck. This has been another episode of the Sartorial Geek Podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything in between. I've been your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance. Make sure you check us out on Patreon to get the show a day early and get some extra perks depending on your tier. And we started just $1 a month, just $1. Also, check out our discount code and link to Pete and Pedro in the show notes here, or use eHawks10 for 10% off your first purchase. Make sure you check us out on social media, on Instagram at Sartorial Geek and Webster Style, on Twitter at Webster Style, and of course on TikTok at _Webster Style. Make sure you drop us an email at info@websterstylemagazine.com for all your comments, questions, criticisms. If you want to be a guest on the show, let me know. And of course, anything and everything that is Webster Style can be found at websterstyle.com. Thank you again for your listening ear and your time. And remember, be safe out there and be blessed.